Welcome back to the Open Home Podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about, do we work well with other agents in our marketplace?
And all this proudly supported and sponsored by Merchant Realty Group with all your selling and buying needs. Josh, how was your weekend?
It was good. It was good. A few opens on the weekend.
Fantastic.
Got out. I was lucky enough to get out and play some golf yesterday with
Beautiful.
one of my best mates, so can't complain.
Great.
You know, it was a bad day to be a golf ball, that's all I'll say. So what about you?
Very good, mate. Very good. Very eventful weekend, which was great. But I want to cut down to get down to the nitty gritty.
Yep.
Now, this is what I want to ask you a question about your experience last week with with another agent, and you were representing. You had a legitimate buyer that was looking in a certain pocket in Mount Eliza.
Yep.
Correct. Can you just tell me what actually unfolded when you got there?
It was a beautiful day. I'd actually gone and seen, I think, 3 or 4 other properties through other agents. I was looking for a buyer. I got some specific requirements.
Yep.
Now, it was my final one that I was going to.
So how was the...
I'm not going to mention names.
Okay, that's good. How was the overall interaction with the other agents?
Great.
Yeah.
Some of them knew who I was.
Yep.
You come across them.
Yep.
You meet a few new ones. You see a few hosts.
Yep. And it's good to interact because we're working in the same area. We're definitely in competition, but
we're helping. First things first. You're helping sellers, maximize a good price. If one agent does a really good result, it actually helps everyone that's in your network that you can advise as well. So, and from a buyer's standpoint too, it really helps.
So you're looking at, sorry to interject, but you were looking for this buyer. So tell us what happened. So
I've driven on up. It looked pretty dead, to be honest. There wasn't many cars in the street. The agent's car was there. You could see it was all nice and branded. Walk in. Agent was sitting down initially at the front of the property. Jumped on up.
Sitting.
Yep.
Inside
Jumped on up.
Or outside.
Outside. Jumped on up on the veranda. There was a little seated sitting area. Jumps on up like a spring chicken, realizing she's done something wrong.
Oh.
And I've gone to walk in. She stood there like a security guard and
really.
Oh, what's your name? Yep. Kind of had an idea as to who I was. Okay, Josh, how am I going to justify you coming through my open home?
So that was the question.
To my vendor. I'm representing a buyer. I've got multiple buyers. Don't we all? No, I can't see that there's a reason for you to come through this property. So I've gone, whatever, turned my back, walked off. Being in mind, this wasn't an open home. This is publicly open.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Publicly listed open home.
I'm going
just
to...
hear me out. Publicly advertised open home. It doesn't say register to attend. By law, should be allowed to walk through. I could be blind Freddy. I could be Cracker Jacker, just walking down...
Who's Cracker Jacker?
I don't know, cracked up old mate down the road who wants to get through the property. I mean, you're obviously not going to let them through, but anyone at a publicly advertised open home is allowed in, regardless. You could be doing market research, could be a neighbour. Is she going to decline an owner to walk through? Why would an owner walk through the property one? Or to get more business? It's funny how other agents should work with other agents, and it actually makes the process, in my opinion, when I've dealt with other, buyers agents, really, really good. It's a very clean operation. The agent's working purely business. That buyer's no longer there, but it's quite funny how, those situations happen and what's meant to be is meant to be. But I found that to be a very unique situation with another agency because you don't see that often. More often than not, they're actually really accommodating. I know in your experience, you'd have to say you've probably had a lot of agents you've come across who have walked through your open homes. Yeah,
look. For me, it's I've always been a big believer that when you're having an open, it doesn't matter if an agent comes through or not.
No.
To me, it's like if they've got a genuine buyer, it could be a neighbour that is interested in the particular home. I'm gonna, of course, let them in.
Maybe this agent felt a bit threatened because there was no one there, meaning there was no buyers in the property at the time. Maybe she felt like she's clearly overpriced it.
Well,
and she might be losing that listing. Has been on the market for a bit of time.
I beg to differ.
Okay.
You know why? You're going to be more pissed off if you're thinking as what she probably was, she'd be pissed off if you were going through with a whole heap of people. In actual fact, I would have been encouraging you to come through. Oh, if there was 5 agents at the front,
Yeah, then I'm trying to think about it from her
I would have
point of
said, hey, come on through.
Yeah.
Because at least I could say to my seller, hey, we had an agent that came through. They've got some buyers
Yep.
that actually want to purchase. And you know what? That's fine. It'd be different if you had 20 people and an agent, because the agent's going to go through. He could be talking to other people
Yep.
and mingling. I thought it was very poor. And you know, the reality is that particular buyer went and bought the next day, and we were able to help negotiate a deal, which in actual fact, I want to quickly touch on that with regards to making offers. They were able to secure, having some really good intel from myself to the purchaser who ended up buying. It was really bizarre. I think, you know, that agent...
It's funny.
It is funny.
I found
It
it
is
funny.
funny,
It was
but-
a whatever and turn your back. Like at the end
Yeah.
of the day, I'm not a believer of wasting my time. At the end of the day, they're doing an injustice for their owner.
Correct.
They're-
And that's
by
that's-
law. I mean, legally, why would you advertise and open and not let another agent come through, regardless if they're a buyer's agent, a selling agent in that area? They've got buyers in their network who they deal with on the daily. They're not just going to snake your listing. There are agents out there that are very competitive and will do that, but we were genuinely looking for a buyer. So it did frustrate me, but at the end of the day, their loss, and it's actually just poor for the owner and the sellers in that marketplace who would go with that agency because they're just limiting realistically who their buyers are going to be. So they're very selective. It's almost like, it'd be like me asking a buyer walking through, hey, can you show me your bank balance and make sure that you've got enough money to spend for this house? We ask qualifying questions, but we're not, we can't push back anyone when they're at the door. Hey, go on through.
Well,
Unless they're causing up a ruckus and they're doing something
as we know,
silly,
Josh, the great thing is...
let them in.
What's that?
I said, unless they're doing something silly, you've got to let them in. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
So.
Have you had any experiences like that before in your... Out of curiosity, how many years have you been doing real estate?
I've done it for, what am I now, 27, did it since 18. First gap year, I wanted a gap year. Dad said, you're not getting a gap year, son. You're coming
Oh,
away
hey,
with me.
I was all for having a gap year as long
Mate.
as you were going overseas. Mate, sitting in your lounge room...
I would have been a
sitting-
professional YouTuber by now on a gaming sense, so it's all right. Different career paths end up. What's meant to be is meant to be. Did it 18 and then worked at the chemist for a period of time there, and then went and worked up at
Good old pharmaceutical, hey?
pharmaceuticals, got into the drug business, but not actually. I'm just joking for anyone
Chemist
who's
Warehouse.
watching. Yep, Chemist Warehouse.
Yep.
More retail, I would classify that.
Yep.
And then worked up at a corporate business up in the city, which was good under my uncle. And then, now I'm working and I did a business prior to this. And 8 years. To answer the question, 8 years.
Get to the point, mate. Come on.
8 years in real estate.
We got attention span. We know
Attention
these guys.
span, they don't even watch
These
it,
guys,
but,
they're probably not even fucking
not
watching.
even watching.
You know, the thing is this. Be more to the point. Don't dribble. I know you'd take after
I'm
me,
just
son. but
learning from
fucking-
you. I was going to say, calm down, just rubbing off.
If I'm kicking you under the table, it means hurry the fuck up. But anyway. But look, would you say that agent has cost a potential buyer?
100%.
Yeah.
I
that's it in a
wouldn't push.
Yeah.
I open up properties and sit there, and you would not push someone back.
Yeah.
Like we said, unless they're a genuine person who looks like trouble,
Yeah.
and they're going to make absolute headaches
That's
for everyone
different.
in there.
Yeah.
Regardless, if you're worried about another agent coming in,
Buying real estate. Now, we just had a situation where a client, we've sold their home, they went and purchased. Now, what's one of the written rules when we're negotiating, when we get a figure that we sort of know, what do we do with our purchases?
I missed that question.
So if we've got a purchaser who wants to make an offer, what do you do?
What do you mean? Like if they want to make an offer,
Yeah.
what's the process?
Yep.
We'll get it into a contract to sale.
That is number one.
Yep.
You know, it was interesting. We
Well, obviously you run them through the details. Some it can be different nowadays. Some people want you to send through the offer form, which then we convert into a contract. Some people want to do it over the phone. If you're a bit more traditional and old school, you'll or populate it in person.
Correct.
It's
Now how's
varies.
this? I'm going to tell you, an agent who's supposed to be been around a while made a huge error. So what I mean by that is, a client of mine was negotiating. I said, look, start off at this number. We know that, interesting enough, the agent said, look, if you come to this number, so they basically declared that's what it's going to sell for.
Yeah.
Not at the top end of the range. They said, look, if you can come here. And that gave our clients an understanding of, hey, look, they were going to probably pay that. And I said, look, if it was me, if you want to save 20, 30, 40 grand potentially, this is where you need to start, which they listed. They made an offer which was pretty good over the phone. They went to a certain price and they said, "One, we could probably go more. We know we could go more, but we're going to go." I suggested go to this figure. They spoke to the agent. Now, the agent hadn't by this stage, no contract in writing. It was just verbal. They had like an offer link through, but they've been in negotiations. So the figure's gone from, high 1.3s. We're now in the low 1.4s. Now, words can be misinterpreted. So the agent who was negotiating with our buyers, they said, "Yep, great, no worries, we've got your number." The most critical thing is to firm that number up, write it, whether it be in writing, whether you get a text, or email, you know that number. What happened was that agent went to the owner and said, "Hey, we've got a number of X." When in actual fact, the agent got confused with what.
Did they put a higher or lower?
It was so.
Which number did they disclose?
So
Was it
to
lower?
so they offered 1.43.
Yep.
And the agent said to the owners, "We've got 1.443."
Okay, that's $13,000.
$13,000 difference. Now, by this stage, the owners on the selling side said, "Yeah, we'll agree to 1.443." When in actual fact, they said our final and best offer was 1.43. Now, what I'm trying to say is, if you don't get this in writing, it's quite costly, and for that agent to be making those some fundamental look, in the end, you know what, they end up securing it for a lot less as well, due to putting in some terms and conditions, which is what we're here to do, to assist, to help our clients. So to me, that's why it's so important, because hey, I've been guilty of, in the past, you all make those mistakes as rookies. But when you've got an experienced agent that
I see that more often though. A lot of agents aren't. They slower to take it into a
but
contract.
they're becoming lazy.
Well, no, I would say it doesn't help. One, it doesn't help the buyer and it doesn't help the seller, because there's nothing that commits them to actually moving this deal forward.
Yeah.
The only point is when you've got to that nitty gritty and you fine tune that price, then converting it to a contract. At the end of the day, obviously, if you get something in writing, one, if you're a buyer, it strengthens your position.
Yeah.
Because you're actually showing and you're committed. You're willing to show the agent, hey, I'm willing to put something in writing, which means that you're now willing to work on this property and you're willing to invest the time in it.
Yep.
That works. And then for the seller, it gives them the ability to recognize and see clarity in the deal.
Yep.
And then you can obviously come to a point.
There's transparency. The thing that I would say, and I've had many staff work, I mean, I remember, I've had this line before, and this is what's happening at the moment. We don't want to put it in writing. We just want to verbalise and get things in negotiations. From my perspective, that's okay. But if we're getting closer to the price point, my suggestion, even if it's not going to be accepted, we need it in writing. And if that buyer does not want to put it in writing, that to me that tells me that they're not serious.
Yeah. Why would we waste the time?
Because I have seen, and this is what a buyer does, what can be done. So this is another tip if you wanted to play it on the other end. If you want to negotiate verbally, then when it comes to signing the contracts, I've seen this where, where I've had to walk into boardrooms with past salespeople where they've said, Wayne, look, we got price agreed at this, but now the purchaser, because we're getting it in writing, we're now going to add building, we're going to add pest, we're going to put subject to finance, when the owners have agreed to an unconditional contract. And what that meant was it actually put a real sour taste in the seller's mouth. And it was, and that's
because the seller, the buyers move the parameters once
correct.
It's been agreed, and
so moving those boundaries.
It's take an inch and want a mile, and it's like.
And most people will do that. So to me, it's real clear. that's why I love auctions. With an auction, hey guys, do your pre-building inspections. We're actually, at the moment, we are looking for a building inspector or pest inspector to do pre-auction building inspections for our clients so that we can actually push that out to all our clients. What's that?
We have one.
Oh, we have. Oh, well, there you go. Well,
I was going to say, mate, what are you talking about?
Sorry.
We just actually,
got
one. Yeah, I was going to
sorry,
say,
mate. Yeah,
cut that.
Cut. Yeah, take that out.
No one's getting it.
No one's getting it. But the good thing is with an auction is once the deal's done, even if we sell it before the auction, 3 days before, we get price agreed. Once the contracts are signed, 10% goes down. On the day of the auction, bang, if it doesn't sell, you can negotiate after. But while it's in the heat of the battle and you've got the buyers out there, you can negotiate and get the price that's required for our owners with the best terms. Terms are the most critical things because if you have finance, that means there's 2 weeks out of that time that the buyers have 2 weeks to get it. In some situations,
terms change a deal.
And it can. And so if you've got a 60-day settlement and you've got already 2 weeks, the seller has to abide by, and they're tentatively wanting to buy something, but if it gets extended, which we've seen, these are the things that can halt a contract. So when my advice to sellers, to those people that are looking to buy, put it in writing. And look, you'll get that better.
And clearly, if you're not putting it in writing, well, then you might be able to, like what we said, you can take advice.
Well, you can take advice if you want to.
If you want to be a cheeky,
if you want to be cheeky
bastard,
and
let's
not
be real here. Like,
if you want to,
you could do exactly that, but at the end of the day, when you're dealing with a professional outfit and you come across, it's going to put you in good stead, and you're actually closer to doing a deal than you were before.
Correct.
There's all these verbal indications.
I'll say this: there was another. We had a situation where there was 2 buyers. Remember that time? It was last year on a really nice home. There was 2 buyers. One was non-committal, and what I meant by that was they didn't want to put it in writing, and we had the other party that was committed, and we got that in writing. So we said to the owners, look, we've got 2 parties, but one doesn't want to put an offer in. They've said it's this, but it's what they've said, but they can change.
Doesn't mean anything.
They can change their word. It's like that good old Jerry Maguire. My handshake is as good as solid oak, right?
Yeah.
But then when it came to the crunch, Jerry got screwed because it wasn't in writing, and Jerry got told get it in writing, and the other dude came in and
maybe that's where you got it from.
Well, I
think like everything in writing.
Well, the key is this.
It's good.
It's more beneficial.
It's funny. In my previous business, I remember my business partner said, "You are the most diligent with contracts," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I learned it from Dad because Dad always said get everything in writing, and that protects his clients, and it protects everyone involved.
But it protects the purchaser and the buyer because imagine if you have a price agreed.
And then the owner changes the boundary.
Then the seller goes, no, we're not taking that. And we've seen that happen before.
100%.
That can happen. So to me, it's
you
about...
have an overnight sleep and you go, I don't really think, maybe another agent called in, you should probably get this, or you just put it in writing, it works better.
Yeah, well, that's it. And that's where, look, that's from a buying and selling. Look, some agents out there, the majority of agents, I would say, in my 23 years, I've encountered maybe less than half a dozen absolute wankers. And what I mean by that, they just got they're like a Haley's Comet though. They've shot out, did really well, and then they just fizzled out because they torched everyone around them. Their reputation super exceeded themselves because they got to a point where they got found out. So they're no longer in the industry. Or they're in the industry, but they're doing fuck all. So to me, it's about doing the right thing.
You heard it.
Yeah, do the right thing. Other agents, if I see them, have a chat. It's great to see what they're doing.
You've got good camaraderie with the other agents.
100%.
Say hi, and I think it's important.
You've got to have that mutual respect. To me, you've learnt that. To me, we're in this.
We're in the same game. It's like playing footy, right? You've got different teams. We're all going. There's no title. Like obviously the title would be, you get your number 1 in the suburb you're respectively working, or if you don't work suburbs, whatever your craft is, you want to get to it. I think we all have that perseverance of wanting to try and get to that point, but it's realistically, you're not going to some teams have rivalries. You're just not going to be able to stop that.
Let's, the reality is we're people.
Yeah, 100%.
I've bought properties of other agents before. I've had agents buy off me, and
don't get me wrong, we hate freaking losing.
We just had a game of golf the other day on Friday with some rival agencies, and that particular agent, he actually said, in my 30 plus years of doing real estate, You're the most. You're great to deal with. You're transparent. You're very clear. You help me. You didn't try and fuck me over. And to me, he paid above the odds, but it was a clean, and he said it was efficient. So to me, you got to understand, when you go up the ladder, you're always going to go down the ladder as well. To me, life's like that. Treat people the way you want to be treated. And that's why we can go into Frankston, we can go into Frankston South, and analyse it, see how go to
Hold your head high.
Seafood. We could sit at a coffee shop. We know that there's not going to be some idiot tapping us on the shoulder saying you're a fucking you prick and try and run us out of the town. No, because we do the right things. Okay, so that's why some agents don't last. They think by treading on people on their feed or trying to do some defamation against your character. There's lots of crap that can be thrown at any agent. To me, I look at it this way. If an agent's coming to you, pitching for the business, and then has the audacity to be canning every other agent around him, that clearly shows that person's character. You don't want to be dealing with them, because if they're saying that about other people, and then they discount their fees, what are they going to say about you to the masses out there? So it's really critical when you're doing business, do it with the right people.
Do it with people with integrity, and trust them. Yeah.
And we've got some awards.
And you can only, it's funny because you only get that face value, especially if you're interviewing agents. You're going to get your three agents out. You want to make sure that you get a good gut feel on the first impression. They're credible, they've got testimonials, they're actually,
they've got
good
reviews.
people, and they take care of themselves.
And you know what? We lose.
Pudding.
It's like, I've never seen an AFL team win for 20 years, win 20 years in a row. You're going to have your ups and downs. And I think when you're having your downs, how you lose is really important. Show show humility and wish the owners all the very best. As much as it hurts that you didn't get that listing, you might have helped these people for 10 years, given them reports, done all this, and then all of a sudden they've chosen another agent. Yeah, it could be a bummer for a split second, but have that humility to say, hey, if you need me as a sample, please have a chat. If you win the business, be grateful. And I think it's just getting back to human touch. So, guys, on that note, we've had a great open home. Next week, Josh, let's get some more inspiring
we'll get
topics. If you want to talk on a topic, by all means, reach out, let us know.
Drop them in the comments, because we'd like
we're
to know
able to talk about
anything
anything on real estate.
Yeah, if there's a specific
real
topic.
estate, whether it be a topic in...
No, real estate. We want real estate, purely just real estate. I don't know, we're not going to
No,
branch
it's just
out. We
real
are
estate.
real estate agents, so we want to, if there's anything that you guys, if you're buying or selling in the market, have any questions, just put them in the comments and we'll touch on them in the next video.
Awesome.
Thanks
Great.
for watching.
Thanks for watching.
See ya.